Now we're going to multiply everything by 15 because the denominators are all factors of 15.
And then by multiplying the denominators by 15, we end up with 10 minus 3x is less than 4.
Now we're going to subtract 10 from both sides, and we'll get negative 3x is less than negative 6.
And then I'm going to divide both sides by negative 3 to get the x alone. And whenever you divide by a negative, you have to flip the signs. And negative 6 divided by negative 3 is 2. And a negative divided by a negative always equals a positive, so that's because these two signs cancel. So that's why it's 2 and not negative 2. And a rule that you have to use is that whenever you do to one side, you have to do the other side. And so we end up with x is greater than 2. And so we're going to graph it. So this is the number line, and this is where 0 is. Then this is where 1, this is where 2 is. And this is negative 1 and negative 2.
Now I'm going to mark where the possibilities of the x could be. So it's going to be an open dot because it's not equals to, like it can't be 2. And then it's going to go all the way down, and then I'll just kind of go down. Now I'm going to distribute the 4. So I'm going to get 8y minus 12 is greater than 28.
And then to start getting the x alone, I'm going to add 12 to both sides. So then I end up getting 8y is greater than 40. And then because we have to get y alone on one side, divided by 8, we do that to both sides. And 40 divided by 8 is 5, so it's y is greater than 5.
Now I'm going to make a graph for y is greater than 5, and it's going to look like this. And here's the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then it will just be negative 1, negative 2, and negative 3. Now I'm going to make an open circle because it can't be 5. And then you just draw a line down and then an arrow because it could be all of those numbers down.
Then we multiply everything by 24 because the denominators are all factors of 24. And then you have 24 times 2/3, which is 16, and you either choose to times it by that or by that, so I chose to times it by this. And then so you have 7/8. And then 24 times 5/8 is 15. And then 24 times 3/8 is 9. And then because there's still a fraction, we have to multiply everything by 8. So we distribute the 8 to this, and this, and this. And then we get 16 parentheses 7 minus 32x minus 120 is less than 72. Then I distributed 16, So 16 times 7 is 112, and then because the minus dominates the plus, it becomes minus 512x, and then 120 stays the same, so minus 120 is less than 72. And then you combine these like terms, and that makes it minus 512x, because you keep the symbol in front of it, minus 8 is less than 72. And then, because to solve we have to get x alone, we do plus 8, and we have to do that to both sides. So then we get negative 512x is less than 80. And then, because negative 512x is the same thing as negative 512 times x, we have to do opposite operations as multiplication, which is division. So divided by 512 and divided by negative 512. And then whenever you have a division problem with a negative denominator, you have to flip this sign. So it becomes x is greater than 80 divided by negative 512. And then, because these are both divisible by 2, you get 40 over 256. And they're both still divisible by 2, so you can make that into 20 over 128. Negative 128. And if you just keep reducing this, then you end up with x is greater than 5 over negative 32.
Now I'm going to make a graph for x is greater than 5 over negative 32. So then we're going to put 0 there, and 5 over negative 32. And since it's just is greater than, not, or equal to, it's going to be an open dot, and then a line going this way. And then it can be any number after that, so it's going to be an arrow.
And in this problem, we're solving for x right here. So we have to get x alone on one side. And using opposite operations to get rid of the b, we do minus b and do that to both sides. So we get y minus b is less than ax. And then, because ax is the same thing as a times x, we divide by a on both sides. So we get y minus b over a is less than x.
Now I'm going to make a graph for y minus b over a is less than x. So I'm going to put that here. And then, since it's just, it's not equals to, it's just an open circle. And then it could be, I'm going to draw a arrow, because it could be, x could be all those numbers going down.
So when a store says things like up to 30% off, that really means it's less than or equal to 30%.
That's how inequalities are used in everyday life.